Welcome back to our channel for another deep and thrilling dive into the scandalous, high-stakes world of Los Angeles fashion. Today is a magnificent day to unpack the explosive drama unfolding on your screens, as the battle lines are drawn and lifelong loyalties are irrevocably shattered. Let us delve right into the heart of the latest unprecedented corporate warfare that is threatening to tear two iconic dynasties apart forever. The atmosphere within the glittering, glass-walled executive suites of Forrester Creations has reached a level of toxicity that can no longer be contained by polite boardroom negotiations or familial compromises. Brooke Logan Forrester found herself standing at the precipice of a profound emotional abyss, staring directly into the hollow void of her husband's paralyzing indecision. For weeks, Brooke had patiently, and then urgently, waited for Ridge Forrester to summon the fortitude required to dethrone his fiercely territorial daughter, Steffi Forrester Finnegan. Brooke had laid out a logical, passionate argument for why she deserved the co-CEO's seat, envisioning a harmonious future where she and Ridge could guide the company to unprecedented heights. However, instead of a united front, Brooke was met with the agonizing reality of Ridge's historical weakness. Caught in an impossible, suffocating dilemma between his wife's burning ambitions and his daughter's relentless emotional blackmail, Ridge simply froze. His inability to look Steffi in the eye and strip her of her title was not just a professional failure in Brooke's eyes. It was a deeply personal betrayal that shattered her faith in their partnership. As Steffi continued to dig her heels in, utilizing a potent mixture of historical revisionism and childish demands to force Ridge to prove his love by protecting her corporate crown, Brooke experienced a chilling epiphany. The realization washed over her with the cold, unforgiving clarity of a winter storm. Playing by the established rules of the Forrester family would only guarantee her eternal subjugation. She recognized that as long as Ridge was the ultimate arbiter of power, Steffi's dictatorial reign would remain absolute and unquestioned. Brooke's ambition, fueled by a lifetime of feeling marginalized despite her monumental contributions to the company's legacy, began to mutate into something far more dangerous and calculating. She understood that if she wanted the throne, she could not wait for it to be handed to her by a conflicted patriarch. She would have to seize it by force, utilizing methods that would shake the very foundations of the Los Angeles fashion industry. Driven by this newfound, ruthless clarity, Brooke orchestrated a clandestine maneuver that no one in their right mind could have ever anticipated. In the dead of night, far from the prying eyes of the Forrester security cameras and the gossiping corridors of the design suites, Brooke arranged a secret rendezvous with the one man who possessed the financial artillery required to wage a full-scale corporate war, Bill Spencer. The atmosphere of their clandestine meeting was thick with unspoken history and dangerous potential. Sitting across from the formidable Spencer patriarch, Brooke crossed a line from which there could be no return. She was not merely seeking advice or a sympathetic ear. She was there to propose a devil's bargain that would redefine the landscape of their intertwined lives. With a chillingly calm demeanor, Brooke laid her treacherous cards on the table. She offered Bill Spencer exclusive, highly confidential insider information regarding the deepest financial vulnerabilities, upcoming design schedules, and board member weaknesses of Forrester Creations. In exchange for this motherlode of corporate espionage, Brooke demanded the immense, virtually limitless financial backing of Spencer Publications to launch a brutal, hostile stock takeover of the fashion house. It was a strategy of breathtaking audacity and staggering betrayal. Brooke was essentially offering to hand the keys of the Forrester Kingdom over to its most historically dangerous adversary, all to bypass Ridge's hesitation and forcibly rip the co-CEO title from Steffi's fiercely clutched hands. This was no longer a family dispute. It was an act of high treason. What makes this shocking escalation even more compelling is the unwavering, radicalized support Brooke received from her daughter, Hope Logan Spencer. Once the moral compass of the family, a beacon of forgiveness and ethical purity, Hope has been fundamentally broken by Steffi's relentless condescension and dictatorial leadership. The moment Steffi callously paused the Hope for the Future line, staring Hope down with a dismissive and arrogant challenge, something inside the younger Logan woman snapped. Hope no longer viewed Steffi as a difficult colleague or a rival stepsister. She saw her as a tyrant who needed to be violently deposed. When Brooke revealed her dark alliance with Bill Spencer and the plan for a hostile takeover, Hope did not flinch. Instead, she embraced the strategy with a terrifyingly cold, calculating enthusiasm. Hope genuinely believes that this catastrophic nuclear option is the only viable path to breaking Steffi's absolute dictatorship and resurrecting her beloved brand from the ashes of Steffi's ego. However, the meticulously constructed walls of Brooke and Bill's conspiracy were destined to crumble, and the manner of their collapse was nothing short of tragic. Katie Logan Spencer, already drowning in a waking nightmare over the vulnerability of her newly launched Logan fashion brand, stumbled upon the devastating truth. The discovery was not a grand, dramatic revelation, but a quiet, sickening realization brought on by an intercepted communication and a string of undeniable financial anomalies linking Spencer Publications to Forrester stock acquisitions. When the pieces of the puzzle violently snapped together in Katie's mind, the shockwave of betrayal nearly brought her to her knees. She realized with horrifying clarity that her own sister was not only plotting to seize control of the company that held the Logan brand's fate in its hands, but she was actively colluding with Katie's own partner to do it. The subsequent confrontation between the Logan sisters was a masterclass in raw, unbridled emotional devastation. When Katie cornered Brooke with the undeniable evidence of her treason, a brutal, unforgiving war ignited between them. Decades of simmering sibling rivalry, past romantic betrayals, and deep-seated insecurities exploded to the surface in a torrent of weaponized words. Katie accused Brooke of being a pathological narcissist, a woman so utterly consumed by her own insatiable thirst for power and validation that she was willing to sacrifice her own flesh and blood on the altar of her ambition. The conditional olive branch Brooke had extended just days prior now appeared to Katie as a sickeningly manipulative smokescreen, designed to keep her docile while Brooke and Bill sharpened their knives in the shadows. The bond of sisterhood, once considered the unbreakable bedrock of the Logan family, was instantly pulverized into dust. In the harrowing aftermath of this confrontation, Brooke found herself trapped in an agonizing internal purgatory. The adrenaline of her strategic mastermind sessions with Hope and Bill began to fade, replaced by the suffocating weight of her actions. Brooke was violently torn between her desperate, burning ambition to finally claim the respect and authority she felt she was owed, and the agonizing realization that she was actively destroying the family she claimed to cherish. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the profound, irreparable heartbreak etched into Katie's face. The internal conflict threatened to tear Brooke's psyche apart. She had convinced herself that this hostile takeover was a necessary evil, a righteous crusade to save the company from Steffi's arrogance and Ridge's weakness. But as the collateral damage began to mount, Brooke was forced to confront the terrifying possibility that she had become the very monster she was trying to defeat. Meanwhile, operating entirely in the shadows of the warring Logan sisters, Bill Spencer was experiencing a Machiavellian awakening of epic proportions. While he played the role of the supportive partner to Katie and the strategic financier to Brooke, the true, predatory nature of Dollar Bill was roaring back to life. Bill had no intention of merely funding Brooke's ascent to the co-CEO chair, nor did he truly care about protecting the Logan fashion brand supply chain. Brooke's desperate offer of insider information had handed him the ultimate, golden opportunity he had craved for decades. Bill was meticulously exploiting the chaotic situation, manipulating the fractured relationships and the plunging stock confidence to orchestrate a scenario where he wouldn't just install Brooke as a figurehead. He would swallow Forrester Creations whole. Bill's hidden agenda is a masterpiece of corporate villainy. He is utilizing Brooke's insider knowledge to systematically dismantle the Forrester family's voting bloc, quietly acquiring proxy votes through shell companies and leveraging the board's growing dissatisfaction with Steffi's volatile leadership. He looks at Brooke not as an equal partner in this hostile takeover, but as an incredibly useful, temporary pawn who has foolishly opened the gates of the fortress from the inside. Bill envisions a future where Spencer Publications holds the absolute controlling interest in Forrester Creations, reducing Ridge, Steffi, and even Brooke to mere employees in his ever-expanding empire. The sheer brilliance of his deception lies in the fact that the Logan sisters are too busy tearing each other apart to notice the Spencer guillotine slowly descending upon all of their necks. As the financial mechanics of the hostile takeover begin to silently grind into motion, the dramatic irony surrounding Steffi Forrester Finnegan is almost too painful to witness. Steffi continues to strut through the corridors of Forrester Creations, cloaked in a false sense of absolute invincibility. She genuinely believes that her childish emotional blackmail successfully neutralized the threat of Brooke's ambition, viewing Ridge's paralyzing silence as a definitive victory for her dictatorial reign. Steffi is completely, blissfully blind to the reality that her stubborn refusal to share power, her condescending treatment of Hope, and her arrogant demands of her father are the exact catalyst that pushed Brooke into launching a nuclear strike. Steffi thought she was fighting a standard, internal corporate skirmish. She had no idea she had invited a ravenous wolf to the door. The impending devastation that awaits Ridge Forrester is equally profound. His tragic flaw has always been his inability to make a firm, definitive choice when it comes to the warring factions of his family. By choosing to hesitate, by desperately hoping the conflict between his wife and his daughter would simply evaporate, Ridge created the very vacuum of power that Brooke and Bill are now exploiting. When the truth of the hostile takeover finally comes to light, when Ridge discovers that the woman he loves has sold the family's legacy to their greatest rival, simply because he couldn't stand up to his daughter, the psychological fallout will be catastrophic. The bedrock of the Bridge marriage, already fracturing under the weight of the Hope and Steffi feud, will be utterly annihilated by this unprecedented act of corporate and personal treason. In the periphery of this escalating nightmare, Donna Logan stands as the tragic, weeping chorus to her family's destruction. Having spent the week desperately pleading with Katie to put family above business, Donna is now forced to witness the ultimate realization of her darkest fears. The Logan legacy, built on a foundation of fierce loyalty and unconditional love, is being systematically dismantled by greed, unchecked ambition, and a thirst for vengeance. Donna's desperate attempts to mediate, to remind her sisters of the love that once bound them, fall on deaf, battle-hardened ears. She is a helpless spectator to a slow-motion car crash, watching in horror as Brooke's ambition and Katie's righteous fury burn their shared history to the ground. The landscape of Los Angeles fashion is currently standing on the brink of an absolute apocalypse. The hostile takeover initiated by Brooke and weaponized by Bill is not merely a business transaction. It is a violent restructuring of power that will leave permanent, bleeding scars on every single character involved. Hope's radicalization has blinded her to the fact that she is helping to destroy the very company she wishes to lead. Brooke is risking her marriage, her sisterhood, and her soul for a title that may ultimately be controlled by a predatory billionaire. And Bill Spencer is gleefully conducting this symphony of destruction, waiting for the perfect moment to drop the final curtain on the Forrester dynasty. As we look toward the horizon of this explosive storyline, one must ask if the pursuit of power is truly worth the devastating cost. Brooke Logan Forrester has crossed a Rubicon of betrayal from which she can never return, setting in motion a chain of events that will forever alter the DNA of the bold and the beautiful. The war has officially begun, the casualties are already mounting, and the only absolute certainty is that nothing in this glamorous